Hey, hello, I'm Tunesy, if you couldn't tell by the channel name, of course. This is episode 2 of Craziest Crimes in Every State. Today, we got Alaska. Oh, yeah. Now, sometimes I forget Alaska's a state in the United States. Don't bully me or anything. Just because, it's right there by Canada. But yeah, Alaska. Let's get started right away. The craziest crime I found in Alaska, which, yes, I did my research. Um, is about this guy, Robert Hansen, the butcher baker. Robert Christian Bose Hansen was born in Ethersville, Iowa on February 15th, 1939. The oldest child of Edna Margit Hansen and Christian Hansen, Robert was employed at his father's bakery. The family moved to Richmond, California in 1942 but returned to Iowa in 1949 and moved to the city of Pocahontas. Throughout Hansen's childhood, he was described as a quiet loner who had difficult relationship with his controlling father. Hansen practiced both hunting and archery. In 1957, Hansen enlisted in the United States Army Reserve and served for 1 year before being discharged. He later worked as an assistant drill instructor at a police academy in Pocahontas. There, he began a relationship with a young woman who he married in 1960. On December 7th, 1960, Hansen was arrested for burning down a Hamilton County, Iowa school bus garage as revenge for his mistreatment in high school. He served 20 months of a 3-year prison sentence in Anamosa State Penitentiary. During his incarceration, Hansen was diagnosed with manic depression with periodic schizophrenic episodes. Psychiatrist who made the diagnosis noted that Hansen was obsessed with getting back at people he felt had wronged him. During the next few years, Hansen was jailed several times for petty theft. In 1967, he moved to Anchorage, Alaska with his second wife. In Anchorage, Hansen opened his own bakery. In December 1971, Hansen was arrested twice, first for abducting and attempting to rape a housewife, and then for raping an unidentified sex worker. He pleaded no consent to assault with a deadly weapon in the former offense. The rape charge involving the sex worker was dropped as part of the plea bargain. Hansen was sentenced to 5 years in prison. After serving 6 months of his sentence, he was placed on a work release program and released to a halfway house. In 1976, Hansen pleaded guilty to a larceny after he attempted to steal a chainsaw from a Fred Meyer store. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison and required to receive a psychiatric treatment for his manic depression. The Alaska Supreme Court reduced Hansen's sentences, and he was released. Hansen is believed to have begun killing around 1972. His modus operandi is believed to have been to stalk a woman to learn her habits, eventually picking her up in his car and forcing her at gunpoint into his home, where he'd rape her, then stab or shoot her. Hansen's first recorded murder was 18-year-old Celia Van Zanten. Van Zanten was kidnapped on December 22nd, 1971, and froze to death in the wilderness after escaping from her abductor. Her body was discovered on December 25th. The abduction occurred 3 days after Hansen committed his assault on the sex worker for which she was imprisoned. While there are some similarities between Hansen's modus operandi, there is no conclusive evidence linking him to the attack, and Hansen himself denied the involvement. On June 13th, 1983, Hansen offered 17-year-old Cindy Paulson $200 to perform oral sex. When she got into the car, he pulled out a gun and drove her to his home in Muldoon. There, he held her captive and proceeded to rape and torture her. Paulson later told police that after Hansen chained her by the neck to a post in his basement, he took a nap on a nearby couch. When he woke up, he put her in his car and took her to Murrell Field, where he told her that he intended to take her to a shack near the Nick River. After the Matanuska-Sestuna Valley, Paulson crouched in the backseat of Hansen's car with her wrist cuffed in front of her body, saw a chance to escape when he was busy loading the cockpit of a Piper PA-18 Super Cub. While Hansen's back was turned, Paulson crawled out of the backseat, opened the driver's door, and ran toward nearby 6th Avenue. Paulson later told police that she had left her blue sneakers on the passenger side floor of the backseat as evidence that she had been in Hansen's car. Hansen panicked and chased her, but Paulson reached 6th Avenue and managed to flag down a passing truck. Robert Younes, the driver, stopped and offered assistance. He drove her to the Mush Inn, where she jumped out of the truck and ran inside. While Paulson pleaded with the clerk to phone her boyfriend at the Big Timber Motel, Yoon continued on to work, where he called the police to report the incident. When Anchorage Police Department officers arrived at the Mush Inn, they were told that Paulson had taken a cab to the Big Timber Motel. APD officers arrived there and found Paulson in room 110, still handcuffed and alone. She was taken at APD headquarters where she described her attacker. Hansen denied Paulson's accusations when he was questioned, stating that she was trying to cause trouble for him because he would not pay her extortion demands. This excuse became one of Hansen's used on other occasions. Although he had several prior run-ins with the law, Hansen's meek demeanor and occupation as a baker, along with an alibi from John Henning, led police to not consider him as a serious suspect. Glenn Floth of the Alaska State Troopers had been a part of a team investigating the discovery of several bodies around Anchorage, Seward, and Mantunska-Senstuna Valley area. The first body was found by construction workers near Eklutna Road. The body, dubbed Eklutna Annie by investigators, has never been identified. Later that year, the body of Joanna Mesuna was discovered in a gravel pit near Seward, and in 1982, the remains of 23-year-old Sherry Morrow were found in a shallow grave near the Nick River. Float believed all three were murdered by the same perpetrator. Floth contracted Johnny Douglas, an FBI special agent, and requested help with an offender profile based on 3 recovered bodies. Douglas figured that the killer would be an expected hunter with low self-esteem, have a history of being rejected by women, and would keep souvenirs, such as jewelry, of his murders. He also suggested that the murderer might stutter. Using this profile, Floth investigated possible suspects until he reached Hansen. Supported by Paulson's testimony and Douglas' profile, Floth and the APD secured a warrant to search Hansen's plane, vehicles, and home. On October 27, 1983, investigators uncovered jewelry belonging to some of the missing women, as well as an array of firearms in corner of hideaway of Hansen's attic, which included a 23 caliber Ruger Mini 14 semi-automatic rifle. A chart with 37 written X marks hidden behind Hansen's headboard was also found. Many of these marks match sites where bodies have been found. When confronted about it, Hansen denied it, but eventually began to blame his victims and tried to justify his actions, later confessing to each item of evidence as it was presented to him. He admitted to a spree of attacks against women starting in 1971. His earliest victims were girls or young women, usually between ages 16 and 19, and not sex workers, unlike some of the victims who led to its discovery. Once arrested, Hansen was charged with assault, kidnapping, multiple weapons, offenses, theft, and insurance fraud. The last charge was related to a claim filed with his insurance company over the alleged theft of some hunting trophies. He used the proceeds to charge his plane. At trial, he claimed he later recovered the trophies in his backyard but forgot to inform his insurer. Hansen entered into a plea bargain after ballistics tests returned a match between bullets found at a crime scene and Hansen's rifle. He pleaded guilty to the 4 homicides the police had evidence on and provided details about his other victims in return for serving his sentence in federal prison, along with no publicity in the press. Another condition of the plea bargain was his participation in deciphering the markings of his aviation map and locating his victims' bodies. Hansen was confirmed the police theory of how the women were abducted, adding that he would also sometimes let a potential victim go if she convicted him, that she would not report him to the police. He claimed that he began killing in the early 1970s. Hansen Hansen showed investigators 17 grave sites in and around south central Alaska, 12 of which were unknown to investigators. There remain marks of his maps he refused to give up, including 3 in Resurrection Bay. Authorities suspect 2 of these marks are the graves of Mary Thill and Megan Emwick, whom Hansen had denied killing. The remains of 12 of the 21 to 37 victims were dug up by the police and returned to their families. Hansen was sentenced to 461 years in prison, without the responsibility of parole. He was first imprisoned at the United States Penitentiary, Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. In 1988, he was returned in Alaska and briefly locked up in Lemon Creek Correctional Center in Juneau. He was also imprisoned at Spring Creek Correctional Center in Seward until May 2014, where he was transported to Anchorage Correctional Complex for health reasons. Hansen died on August 21st, 2014, at age 75 at Alaska Regional Hospital in Anchorage due to natural causes related to lingering health conditions. Dang. This story is honestly really sad, and my condolences go out to the 37 to 26 victims that were harmed by Hansen. Um, this story is probably one of the craziest ones that I'm gonna do, in my opinion, because this is the first time hearing this story. Actually, no, I think I've heard it before, but this story is honestly crazy, in my opinion, and people like this are disgusting. Um, and yeah, this will be the end of this episode 2. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. By the way, if you guys have any like request or want me to know anything, please let me know, because I think I do talk a bit fast. So if I talk fast, please let me know, because I feel like I do, but I don't know. Um, but yeah, this will be the end of episode 2. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe if you guys enjoy this series, because I will be doing this until November 4th. That means throughout Halloween. Ooh, Halloween better be a good one. But yeah. Hope you guys enjoy this series so far. I know this is only episode 2, but this will be a roller coaster. And yeah. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.